Hello, good evening, everybody. It's Thursday night again, 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit past 8. This is Dr. Jerry here, about to give you a short briefing about a health topic. By the way, if you hear some noises or some announcement, I'm actually at the airport, about to take off at 10 o'clock. So just in time to give this sharing on a major health topic called bad versus good supplements. Just a side note, it's interesting, isn't it, with the good technology that I'm able to share with so many hundreds of you and get training through this modern social media. I think all of us have heard of the word supplements in terms of taking vitamins and things like that. But I'm going to start from the beginning to tell you what exactly are supplements. For us to be healthy and survive and to be disease-free, we need to eat a balanced diet, meaning we need to have nutrients in terms of different kinds of food into our body. So in the 50s and the 60s, when food production went into mass production and some people discovered that nutrients were missing, so therefore the supplement industry was born. We were told that we do not eat a balanced diet, we may not get access to certain food, therefore it's good to take supplements, and that's how supplements grew. And as more and more disease become incurable, many people turn to supplements. Now today it's a multi-billion industry. Now in the first place, do all of us need supplements? If we can eat a proper diet that's balanced with all the right nutrients on a regular basis, then essentially we do not need any supplementation. But due to poor lifestyle, poor eating habits, poor diet, poor food access, or whatever the reason is, or even picky eaters, we do not get all the nutrients that we need. So therefore, supplementation becomes important. Now, if you recall, after the Second World War, there were many people looking for food. Therefore, the food industry went into mass production. Basically, we need to produce more and more food to feed the growing population. And as a result of that, a lot of the value and the nutrient value in our food chain started to drop. I'll give you a good example that we eat every day, rice. We used to grow rice once a year, but now you can get it 4 times a year. But don't forget, it's planted on the same soil, and nowadays we use a lot more fertilizer, a lot more herbicides and pesticides. So do you think the rice that you eat today is comparable to the rice that your grandfather ate maybe 30 years ago? Similarly, if you eat a chicken that is grown up in 20 days versus a chicken that's grown up in 3 months, do you think the nutrient value is the same? So therefore, based on just these examples, it is clear that we need to reinforce our diet, make it better through proper supplementation. It is of course a little bit confusing now because you see supplements everywhere. If you go to the pharmacy or even to the supermarket, you see rows and rows of different supplements available, from vitamins to minerals to oils to powder to herbs to pills. It gets very confusing, and some of them are not cheap at all. You will also find that there is a trend in supplements. In the beginning, we used to boil herbs and eat herbs from the Chinese medical shop, and then for convenience, Western manufacturers started making pills, capsules, tablets. And then when someone brought up the fact that it is not so well absorbed, then they came up with powder, and now most recently you have all the liquefied supplements. Another interesting trend is, before you could say get a bottle of vitamin C or a bottle of vitamin E, but because nowadays it's very competitive, and because there are so many different things that are supposed to be good for you, so therefore they package it together into a mixture, a combination. For example, you will find that there are supplements that are good for your heart, there are supplements that are good for your skin, for your whatever. So, and inside will be a mixture of different things. So what happens all in all is it gets rather confusing. And for the consumer, I think 99% of people who buy supplements don't really know the exact detail of what they are buying and what they're using it for. One of the areas that has seen a huge growth in supplements is the children market, because children by nature are picky eaters. They don't eat everything, especially all the healthy stuff. They would like to eat a lot of unhealthy stuff. So therefore, the supplement market now has been flooded with a lot of children supplements. One of the questions that I've always been asked is, well, can supplements cure any disease? In the first place, there are many types of diseases, right? If you have a trauma, an accident or injury or heart attack, or you broke your leg, obviously you need to go to the hospital or clinic to get treated by a doctor, and that's a trauma injury. Also, if you get an infectious disease like a virus or Zika virus or MERS or whatever different kind of tuberculosis, then obviously you need to be treated as well, including things like dengue fever and things like that. But today, we are flooded with non-communicable disease. Basically, diseases that don't spread. If you get diabetes and I touch you, I won't get diabetes. So these kind of diseases, even in the medical world, there's no cure. So coming back to the question, does vitamins cure any diseases? Actually, the growth of vitamins exploded greatly when it was known that vitamin C was able to cure a disease known as scurvy. Scurvy was a disease that affected a lot of sailors who were months and months out in the ocean and they don't eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. So they started getting a lot of bleeding gums, and that was the disease called scurvy. At that time, everybody thought it was a bacteria, a virus, or a germ or something. But actually, it turned out that all they needed was some vitamin C. So by adding lemon or lime to their diet, when they go out to sea for a long time, the scurvy was cured. So therefore, for certain diseases, a balanced diet with sufficient nutrients can be a cure. Bear in mind also that many nutrients are considered essential, in the sense that if you don't take it or don't consuming it, you will die or you will have a very unhealthy body. So these are called essential vitamins, essential minerals, and essential oils, as well as essential amino acids. I now want to come back to the topic of choosing the right supplements. Now, of course, what you look for would be you want to make sure the supplements are pure with no funny kind of additives, and you also want to make sure that your body can utilize it, can assimilate it, can absorb it. There's no point taking something that is not going to be absorbed by your body. You would want the nutrients to be bioavailable, so it has to be closest to real food that you eat every day. Now, in choosing a proper supplement, there are certain things you should be careful and you should avoid as much as possible. I will go through the terms one by one and then I'll explain a little bit. If you see the word synthetic, what does that mean? That means it's artificial, it's not natural. So therefore you should avoid synthetic nutrients or supplements. As I mentioned, another thing you want to avoid is whenever in the ingredients it says artificial, whether it's artificial flavoring, artificial coloring, all these need to be avoided. So it's very important to read the label when you're going to spend so much money to buy a good supplement. Another thing you want to avoid is isolated. For example, you have isolated protein or whatever. Isolated just means that it's standalone, it's taken out. For example, you would extract vitamin C from an orange and that becomes an isolated vitamin C. But remember, our body do not absorb food in an isolated fashion. If you eat an orange, there's calcium inside, there is fiber inside, there is enzymes inside that makes the vitamin C bioavailable to your body. So it's very different compared to popping a vitamin C pill. Another thing you need to avoid, of course, are chemical preservatives. But you'll be surprised how many supplements actually contain it. The words that you need to watch out for is benzoate or sorbate. Benzoate as in B-E-N-Z-O-A-T-E or sorbate, S-O-R-B-A-T-E. These are chemical preservatives, usually in the sodium and potassium form. For example, you got sodium benzoate or potassium benzoate, or you got sodium sorbate or potassium sorbate. Another word you should be very careful with is extracted. Basically, I already gave the example of the vitamin C extracted from an orange, let's say. So basically, it's also a form of isolation. So you would look at the food and then you extract something from it. So that becomes unnatural. And the reason is the process of extraction usually involves a chemical process called hexane, because you need to use a chemical so that it binds to the item that the substance that you're trying to extract scientifically, so you're able to isolate it. So extraction uses a chemical process, and later on they wash away the chemical, but there will be some remnants left. Another thing you need to be aware of is the word concentrated. So what do you mean by concentrated? Concentrated means that it starts from something big, just like how you concentrate the sauce when you're cooking. So you keep heating it up until it becomes thicker and thicker and thicker, and you have it concentrated. So therefore, concentration is also not a natural existing form of food. And of course, you need to be careful with GMO. GMO stands for genetically modified. Basically, these are food that has been genetically engineered. That means it's no longer in its original form, and it has been genetically modified. And why do they do that? They do that so that that plant is able to withstand the herbicides or the pesticides that are used, so that the plant won't die. So as far as possible, some people don't state it. It is not a law here in Malaysia, but in the US, they are still arguing over it, whether you should let people know whether you use GMO or non-GMO ingredients. So a GMO food has been altered from its original state, and it is not in its original form by nature. There are some genetic manipulation that has happened to create a different variety of that food for mass production. Now, coming back to the good things, when you look for a good supplement, these are the keywords that you need. You want to look for whole food, you want to look for unheated, you want to look for cold pressed, you want to look for natural, you want to look for no chemical preservatives. And occasionally you will find the word natural flavoring or natural coloring, which is okay because the source of the flavoring or coloring is not synthetic. After this talk, I will shoot over a photo, ingredient list of quite a popular supplement product that is selling at a very high price. And I want you to take a look at that ingredient list. And I want you guys to take note of what I've just spoken just now. And if you can identify what are the good things and the problems with that supplement. I won't mention the name. Now, many of you who are listening tonight, of course, are taking Soplus. Some of you may be new. And so why do I, myself, choose Soplus as a powerful supplement for myself and my family? Well, first of all, it meets the checklist that I am interested in. It's all natural. You've got the seeds, the 4 different kinds of seeds that are all cold pressed, unheated. And there's no artificial concentration, because seeds are concentrated by nature. It's not concentrated through some processing. And best of all, it meets ORAC 6.0, which is ORAC 6.0. I already explained this before. You want total and full protection for your body. And only ORAC 6.0 can cover all aspects of antioxidants. I've given this example before. If you have a house with 6 doors and you want to put an alarm system, obviously you're going to alarm all 6 doors. But if you take a supplement that doesn't have ORAC 6.0, maybe your alarm only is on 2 doors, 3 doors, but you're never going to be 100% covered. So why spend money on something that do not fully cover you? Okay, one more simple test that you can do, and you can challenge anybody, is whether a supplement is good for you or bad for you. Just don't eat food for a few days, only drink water, and then take that supplement. If that supplement you can eat all day for a few days and you don't have problems, in fact it's good for you, then that's a good supplement. If you do that with your normal vitamin pills for a few days, eating no food and just drinking water, you're going to be feeling quite ill. In fact, you can get quite sick, because most supplements out there are not whole food. So therefore, if you keep taking it without eating any food, you're going to be severely undernourished. Now, on the other hand, if you spend a few days just taking Soplus, 6 to 10 packets a day, and only drink water, that is in fact a very good way to detox your body. If you can do it for 1 week, it is also fantastic for weight management and weight loss. It is a whole food, so do not worry, you're getting all the nutrients that you need. In fact, if you suffer from an autoimmune, which is an incurable kind of immune disease, doing this process is very good to reset your body. After a few days of doing that, just add on some fresh fruits and a lot of fruit juice. So in conclusion, please spend your money wisely. Not all supplements are made the same. Just because it has a big label, it has a big promises like it's good for your heart, good for your whatever, doesn't mean that it's really good. You got to read the ingredients, you got to see how it's processed, you got to know what the ingredients are. And many of you have actually sent me photos of different supplements that other people are taking, and I've given some advice. So please, I hope you've learned something tonight, and be careful in how you choose your supplements. Thank you and good night. After this, I'm going to send you an ingredient list of a supplement and you take a look at it.